All right, welcome back. This is the law class for CCAD, Columbus College of Art and Design, protecting artists and designers' legal rights. And we're going to be talking, hopefully briefly, about nonprofits and about social entrepreneurship and the business structures that go along with those. All right, quick primer on nonprofits and hybrids. We have been covering up until now the normal business structures, the basic for-profit structures, and now we're going to get into nonprofit organizations and social entrepreneurship. All right, so business structures. There are some general reasons why people in business will set up business entities like corporations or LLCs. They want a protection against liability. They want to set up some sort of structure where they've got organization and certain control. And certain business structures, depending on the type of business, can have a tax advantage. So a lot of times people ask me about nonprofits, and they're confused and they say, where do these fit in? A lot of people make the mistake of thinking that a nonprofit means that the people working in that business are not making any profits. Of course, it's right there in the name. Nonprofit does not mean work for free. Two main reasons that people use a nonprofit organizational structure: taxes and liabilities. And two different approaches to this. You can use the traditional nonprofit organizations, a 501c3 under the tax code, and then there's also newer structures which are hybrid organizations, which we'll talk about as social entrepreneurship. What are the differences? With a for-profit business, it exists for financial benefit of its owners. It pays taxes on the profits that it makes. And with a nonprofit, it's for the benefit of society and it's for doing social good. There aren't any owners with a nonprofit. So unlike a corporation or an LLC where there are shareholders or members, no one owns the nonprofit. The purposes usually are for education, religion, literary and art purposes, charity and science, and the organization is exempt from paying income taxes. That does not mean that the workers, the employees, don't pay income taxes. It's the business. They don't pay taxes because they don't make a profit. How do they make money? Through fundraising, usually from donations. So people can donate to an organization and get a tax credit for making a contribution. And also, they can have money given to them through foundations or from grants. So foundations are organizations. They can be public and community foundations, or they could be a corporate foundation, money coming from a wealthy business that wants to do social good, and then they get a tax benefit for that. Or it could come from a family, like a trust fund, and that's another way that foundations can provide nonprofit organizations with grants. All right, continuing with those differences, again, with a nonprofit business or a nonprofit organization, they have a mission that they have to follow. They have a mission statement. So maybe it's feeding the hungry, or it is to open an art gallery for the public use, or maybe it's to set up a school. So they have a certain mission, and it again benefits the greater good of the society, the community, or the world. And the money that they take in has to be used for that mission. It has to be related to, directly or indirectly, has to be related to supporting that mission. So it can be used for the operation of the business, or it can also be used to support other nonprofit organizations. So let's say that you have a successful fundraising campaign and you have extra funds, that money can be put to use supporting other organizations that have a related mission. All right, and again, like I said before, there's no private ownership with this. There's no shareholders. It is considered that a nonprofit organization is owned by the public. Another consideration that goes along with having a nonprofit organization is that everything has to be done above board. So the books, the financial statements, any meetings and records of meetings, everything has to be public. And it has to be set up in a way that the public can come in and inspect the records. A lot of times now what happens is that those records, those materials are posted online and then they're available 24/7. Additionally, in order to obtain this nonprofit status, it has to be approved by the IRS. So there's paperwork that has to be filed with the IRS, as well as paperwork that is filed with the state governments. So there's a lot of hoops to jump through with a nonprofit organization. Specific papers have to be filed, and formalities have to be followed in order to qualify for this. All right, a good website, and I'm not giving any specific endorsement to this, but I have used this as a point of reference. Don Kramer's Nonprofit Issues. There are other sources that are out there. This one's a good authoritative source. Also, I often refer to Nolo Press, and they have some very good books as well as some good materials online. And you can find these all at your local library. All right, that gets us into social entrepreneurship and nonprofit structures like the L3C, the B Corp, and the Benefit Corporation. All right, so the L3C, the Low Profit Limited Liability Company, similar to a nonprofit, they pursue charitable, educational, or socially beneficial objectives as their primary mission. They can also make money. They can also pursue profit. So here's the deal. That profit motive is a secondary objective, meaning that the primary objective, doing that social good, that's the main purpose of the L3C. And what it does is it protects the people who are conducting the business from investors who would say, well, I'm not making any money. These structures are set up to allow social good to be done by social entrepreneurs, and people can invest in these businesses that are doing social good. And if it doesn't make money, then that's fine. That's not their primary objective. So, yeah, there's more flexibility in the structure than with a nonprofit, and it allows access to money from investors. So they don't have to go and get money from foundations or donations. It also means that foundations can actually invest and then make a profit. They're allowed to get money back from the investment. All right. This is still a relatively new concept. It's been around for about 10 years or so, and this is done on a state-by-state basis. You've got a limited number of states: Illinois, Louisiana, Maine, Michigan. You can see the other ones on here. Ohio is not one of the states. Ohio will recognize these structures if they're set up in another state. It's reciprocity. They will honor the structure and the laws of another state as long as it doesn't conflict with the laws of Ohio. So, because this is still a relatively new concept, unlike other established business structures like a corporation or a nonprofit organization, it may be that an investment that is made by a foundation into an L3C might not be exempt, and it might cause problems for the foundation that invests in an L3C. Because it's new territory, they're still trying to figure out exactly what the government's stance is and how certain things would be interpreted. Benefit corporation is another legal structure like the L3C. This is a legal structure. It's limited It's only available in like 30 states, plus Washington, D.C. And again, Ohio isn't one of these 30 states that allows for the benefit corporations under Ohio state law. However, reciprocity allows a benefit corporation to be recognized to the best that Ohio can honor the laws of the other state. So, requirements are, these different purposes, like a mission for the environment, for human health, hard sciences, advancement of knowledge, economic opportunity beyond the creation of jobs in an ordinary course of business, and they can also have sustainable business goals and specific public benefits. So, just like with the L3C, this allows access to money from investors rather than just donations and grants as with the nonprofit. So, making money is not the sole priority. There's another mission. There's also this title that's out there called the B Corp, and that is not a legal entity. So this is a certification, and it comes from this company called B Lab, which is an international private nonprofit organization. It's essentially a stamp of approval or like a certification. It's not a legal status. It's almost like joining a club. If you have a profit-oriented business and you are pursuing socially sustainable and environmental performance goals, then if you meet their standards, then you possibly get discounts from other members, and it helps with your branding. You'll attract a certain clientele who are interested in the same purposes and causes. All right, and Jenny's Ice Cream, I'm sure you've heard about, living here in Columbus. There's Jenny, and here's one of the wonderful things that she says about her business. So Jenny's is a B Corp. It has a certification. It is not a benefit corporation. A B Corp is coming from a private entity, not from the government.